When it came out that I was going to turn pro, I remember the Times, I think it was, or the Guardian, one of the big papers, I got like a double page spread, so it's like, Mum returns to boxing. And I was like, okay, well, Tom Stalker's got like 5 kids, and no one said that Tom returns to boxing, do you know what I mean? I was on Mum returning to a sport, and just on Mum going back to work, really, aren't I? The baby was a big, like, game changer, because when she came, I realised that, like, I love boxing, and I have to do things in my life to make me happy, and boxing's one of them things. Yeah. But being a mum doesn't change what I have to do. Like, for me, it doesn't. Just because I'm a mum now, it doesn't mean that I have to stop everything. Sometimes you lose a fight in boxing, it feels like the end of the world, and at that time, at that moment, in that athlete, that's what it does feel like. But when I had the baby, she doesn't care about bad spars. She doesn't even care if you got selected. She doesn't really care if you miss weight or you're a pound heavy or whatever. She just needs you to be mum.
Me and you are one of a kind because we're true Southpaws. We're both lefties. You write left-handed, right? And you box, yeah. It's rare. I haven't met any other Southpaws.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't met any. One of a kind.
I do think it's like an advantage when you used to get to like obviously when you used to box internationally and stuff, nearly every final would have a southpaw. So I do think like there is something about being a southpaw that's a bit of an advantage.
Do you like boxing southpaws?
No, hate them.
I can't stand them.
It's so awkward. I remember sparring you for the first time. I think you was the actual first southpaw that I ever sparred, and I thought,
was there something not right here?
Yeah, I was like, no, why can't I catch a jab? I was missing it because I was going with the wrong hand.
Yeah.
I was trying to catch it with that hand or something. I was like,
that was it. I don't like sparring southpaws either. I don't even like holding pads for them, so this should be interesting. It's not so bad.
So even with orthodox, because I don't hold pads anyway, I have to build on it. So I'll start jab, so I know where it is. 1, 2, 1, 2 hook, 1, 2 hook backhand. You know what I mean? So I can build up on it, and then I'm okay. So I'm gonna say I'm okay.
Okay. What's your plans then? So you're down here tonight, and then you're going up tomorrow. So you done old school Iron Napa reunion.
In where?
In where?
In where? Where was it?
Birmingham. It's too much effort. There's too many. You're saying too many letters, Tash.
You talk about Scousers knocking things off.
It's my favourite. It's my favourite accent.
Scouse?
Yeah, it's my favourite. Scouse are my favourite people next to Irish. I feel like they're very similar.
Irish are mine, probably.
Yeah.
Irish, Geordies and Scots.
I mean, well, that's quite a lot, Tash.
I know.
The whole of the British Isles. What about Welsh? You miss them as well.
Do you know what? We actually... Wales is like our holiday where if you're Scouse, that's where you go on holiday.
Oh, is it? It's so close.
Yeah, but it's like different.
Yeah.
It's like a different country.
Exotic.
That's how my mum used to sell it.
It's like going abroad.
Go to the mountains.
I boxed in Liverpool and it was the best experience ever.
Because I was there.
Well, yeah, it was that as well.
You liar.
It was that as well. But it was because everyone is so friendly. Everyone is so friendly and it's like a raw energy. That's what I love about it, is that it's a raw energy and that people just, I don't know, they're real. And the humour is my favourite.
Yeah. Well, we think we're funny, but I don't think anyone else does. Normally people don't, but...
No. I love Scousers. Do you remember when we first met? You remembered my headscarf and
I
that
know,
was named
but do you know what? That's so weird because my memory is shocking. Like... But there is little things I'll always remember.
It was
not the specific first time.
I think this is it. I was thinking about it today. Our first time.
Oh my God! You've just opened Pandora's box.
Disclaimer. Disclaimer. No, it wasn't that. Yeah. My first time meeting Tasha was on the bus. We were getting on the bus and we were going on a trip to France.
I remember the France trip. I was going to say that's one of my earliest memories.
I think maybe I might have met you at camp up in Sheffield before. So just a bit of backstory.
Was it Sheffield, or would it been like with the Hotwood? Did you ever go to Hotwood Hall?
Yeah, I did actually.
So it would have been Hotwood Hall because that was earlier.
Wow. So just a bit of backstory. Tasha was already on England Boxing, and I was trying out. I was going to a few camps, and they were seeing how I was, and so we'd get invited to these camps up in Sheffield, and then, as you said, up in Harwood Hall.
Hotwood in Manchester, yeah.
Yeah, I've just revisited my memory bank for that one.
Yeah.
And
so you didn't really know the first time?
no,
Because if Hotwood Hall, that was way before.
that was way before. And so we met before in these camps and stuff. And then we became teammates, and then we go on tournaments, or I'd go up to Sheffield and train and different gyms around there, to Mandy's gym as well.
Yeah.
Shout out Mandy. Yeah. Shout out Mandy.
Mandy is hysterical, isn't she? I was with Mandy literally 2 weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
she
yeah.
always...
And she comes to me fight as well.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was amazing. I think she doesn't get the props she deserves for being such a pivotal female figure in boxing in those early days, man. She really done it for the love. She took us on camps. She took us on trips. Like, she got tops made for us. I
was just about to say, Mandy Groch from Hook and Jab in Warrington. I remember going to one of the early England tournaments, and we didn't even have a kit that matched. Like, we always had the cast-offs of the lads, and one would have like this season's one would have the last season's one, one would have something. And Mandy made sure, like, she sponsored our team, so that
I found that vest the other day. Do you remember for the Europeans? So I boxed in Liverpool at the European Championship, European EU champs, and it was a red vest, and Hook and Jab on the back.
Blue one and navy blue one. Yeah, I've still got them. I've still got them somewhere.
Yeah, so how we first met, so then we must have met before then, but the thing I was thinking about, what sticks out to me was we were going on this tournament to France, and I was getting on the bus. I didn't know anyone. Tasha's sitting at the back of the bus.
Oh, you can imagine.
Holding
cool
court.
Kids sit.
And I got, and I was, of course, I'm nervous. I'm young, and like I'm very new to boxing as well, and also new to sports because I didn't grow up training. I wasn't fit. I was just saying I used to have a PE note every time, a note for PE. I wasn't into sports at all. So it was very much a new environment for me. So stepping on the bus, it was a little bit maybe intimidating and overwhelming. And then instantly, I don't know, like, I saw you say something and we both shared a joke, and then that was it. It was like easy, relaxed, and just, I think from then on, we just always found something to laugh about.
God.
Constant. I remember Mandy actually put something on my page. It was like, I posted something ages ago, and she was like, I always remember you lot just cracking up all the time. If there was joke to be had,
we'd have it. Yeah. That was the only thing we could laugh about at the time.
I remember you were boxing one night. We had to share a room, and you were boxing the next day, and we stayed up laughing till about, I don't know, 2, 3 in the morning. God, and you kept telling me, like, I'm going to sleep. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You didn't. I think you won. That was in, I know, I boxed a Romanian. I boxed a Romanian girl who was bigger. This is where I learned the phrase, never judge a boxer by their shorts. Because I looked at this person, she was like bigger than me, and I was like, she doesn't look fit. She worked me around. She worked me around the ring, and I was like, there's a lesson there. Never ever judge a boxer. Yeah, book by their covers, boxer by their shorts. I remember
which one you're talking about as well. I don't remember.
Yeah, and then you said the opponent that you boxed, and then you came out, and she was having a cigarette round the back. The good times. Yeah. The good old days.
I remember that. Remember the one who had to cut her hair off? That was in France. No, and she also told me she wanted to break my nose. Do you remember that? She was like, I want to, how do you say it?
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Break your nose. Me, was like, okay.
Great, cheers, nice. Did that unsettle you? Do you think things like that unsettle you? Because when I see you now, even when you do the face-offs, like, what I like about you is that, for me anyway, knowing you from the early days, it feels like you're the same. It feels like you just, even though the stakes have got higher and, I guess the pressure's really on, you just stay the same, and you're not rattled, or you don't give in to that kind of circus. You're just,
You know my family, as if they would let me get above myself, as if. They always like to bring me down a peg or two, just to keep it real.
Yeah, keep it real.
But yeah, I just, the one thing I pride myself in is staying true to myself. So like, I don't get, or I try not to get caught up in the whole circus thing. And I still laugh, and it's not a disrespect thing. I just laugh in the face-offs because it's like,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like, it is just a circus for everybody else. Like, I don't really hate her. It's still going to be business when we're in there, but that doesn't mean I have to, stand there doing all, all
Yeah.
the
But are you
get to me.
when
Finish him.
when they say so? For example, when that girl was like, "I want to break your nose," how? Yeah, does that is it something that you're like, okay, whatever, or does it land anywhere?
Well, hopefully not on my nose, but no, I think it's one of them comments like, I haven't got control over what she says and don't really take it personal. And yeah, I just like, yeah, I just skate through trying to just be nice.
Have you always been like that?
I've always been
like in terms of just, letting things go over your head or not like taking to heart what people say or, obviously as this journey has gone on and you're more in the public eye and everyone's got a lot to say about everything, about everyone. Gosh. Yeah. Do you think when you look back, have you always had that kind of exterior where you're like, I don't really care what people say about me?
No, not always. I mean, as a kid, especially in school and stuff, you're always, you just want to fit in. You know what I mean? That's like, you don't ever want to stand out. And even though I was in every sports club that the school offered, I was total opposite to you. I never used to tell my mates because I didn't want them to know. It wasn't seen as like the cool thing to do, to be in the school teams for anything. Like being good at sports for a girl wasn't the thing to do. So I never used to tell my mates. I used to just sneak off and be like, yeah, I'm going home for lunch.
No way.
Yeah, so I didn't tell anyone. And then as I got older, I was like a little bit more comfortable in myself. So like I had the talent and I was proud of it by that time. But now like I'm very, very comfortable in who I am. So like I don't like Twitter, Instagram or X, whatever it's called. It just doesn't bother me. Like there was times when I would look at, you see, you're brilliant, you're brilliant, you're brilliant, you're crap, you're brilliant, you're brilliant, and you'd be like, who said I was crap? Now it just literally doesn't bother me. But that's a whole journey of growth and development and learning about yourself. So it's took a long time to get where I am now. But I'm comfortable with it.
So what do you think was the pivotal moment where you felt a shift in terms of where you felt comfortable in your skin or that, I've arrived in terms of who you are as a human, like feeling connected and being like, these things don't matter anymore because you're in a sport that is high pressure, highly competitive. You're in front of the camera as well.
Sweating now, like you're saying
it. yeah. All right. Don't remind me, Les. Yeah.
Thanks.
You listen. You are cool as a cucumber externally. Like you never, since I've known you, you've always been very cool externally. I haven't seen you. I've seen little moments but not generally. No.
Our sport is to not let you see it though.
It's true.
So that's the deception is like the thing, and everyone's like, "Oh, you smile." I'm not always happy and smiling all the time.
Yeah.
Ask my mum, ask my daughter.
Yeah, it's true.
She'll tell you, but
that's real.
Yeah, I try and be.
Yeah.
But I forgot what the first part of your question was.
So did I. But I'm more interested in what you're saying.
When was the flip?
Yeah. That was it.
So the flip is only very recent, to be honest, because there's the baby was a big game changer because when she came, I realised that I love boxing and I have to do things in my life to make me happy, and boxing's one of them things.
Yeah.
But being a mum doesn't change what I have to do. Like for me, it doesn't. Just because I'm a mum now, it doesn't mean that I have to stop everything. But what she does is put it all into perspective, because people have bad days at work, just in an office job. And they go home, they get on with it, and then the next day is a different day. Sometimes you have you lose a fight in boxing, it's like the end of the world, or you have a bad spar and you don't get selected to go to that tournament or thingy and whatever, and it feels like the end of the world. And at that time, at that moment, in that athlete, that's what it does feel like. But when I had the baby, she doesn't care about bad spars. She doesn't even care if you got selected. She doesn't really care if you miss weight or you're a pound heavy or whatever. She just needs you to be mum. So for the first time ever, I had a mental switch off when I came home, because before that, it was all about what happened and the results and how the process goes, and in training and whatever. But then I'd come home and that give me that, like, okay, forget about what happened now. Now I need to be mum. It gave me like that mental breathing space that you need from anything in life, not just boxing, from anything. So that was a big switch. And then, like you say, you spend all this time trying to, like, I don't want to say make people like you, because if you like me, if you don't. But to please a lot of people or please the masses, and then there's some things like that can just happen, and everyone turns against you, or you all of a sudden go from being there to being there. And when that happened, I was like, it doesn't matter what I do, because opinions are formed anyway, and they're always going to have an opinion, because that's what we're in it to do. The people, we sit there and subjectively scored about what we are and what we do, and people will always have an opinion on that. So I can't change that. I can't be responsible for everybody else's opinion. All I care about is mine and my family's opinion and my friend's opinion and myself. So that happens, which made me kind of think, right, I don't really care about the masses anymore.
Yeah.
I just want to be true to myself, true to my family, true to my friends, and that's it.
So the baby gave you space from the sport in a way, in terms of just like a degree of separation, so that she could give you, maybe, I guess, prioritize, right?
Yeah. She has to come first. But like I said, I still stay true to myself. Just because I'm a mum doesn't mean that my dreams are going to stop, and I don't want to chase and make my life better. And it's definitely about her, but I've still got Tasha Jonas that I need to satisfy.
I stay trying to tell my kids that, is that because when I grow up and I think about my own mum.
When you grow up.
Oh, Freudian slip there.
When you grow up.
When I grow up.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, and I think about my mum growing up, I really just saw her as mum.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see her as a human. I didn't see her going through her own upset or heartbreak or whatever. I just saw her as mum. And so when I think about the message and how I communicate with my girls now, is that I'm still Lesley. I'm a whole person. I'm your mum, and that's unconditional, and that's not changing. But I'm still a person, and like, first of all, I have feelings.
So devils.
Yeah. First of all, I have feelings. Your words hurt. And then also, I still have dreams. I still want to do stuff. And of course, this thing of, not one has to be without the other, or there's a sacrifice. If I'm pursuing things that make me feel empowered and good and happy, then ultimately that's filtering down to them anyway.
Yeah.
But the juggle is real. The juggle is real.
I couldn't do the juggle without my family, and I'll be dead honest. Like,
yeah.
And I am fortunate enough that when I came up and I had no kids, that I had everybody else's kids. Like, I love being around kids. I think it's the best thing ever. And it's like, it's just so. Now, when I'm calling on favours. I'm like, remember that time in 1992 when I had yours for the week? Well, yours was 96. Yeah. So I cashed them all in. I've got all them checks to cash.
Why not? I actually remember, like, I feel like you've always been surrounded by kids.
There's literally 2 Jonas was born every year.
Are you being serious?
No, there's literally, my nana's now, up to right this second, has got 78 grandkids and great-grandkids.
78? Yeah. Wow. That's impressive.
I know. It says a lot about our
Secret
family.
Santa at Christmas. It's got to be.
Yeah, we've started, like, if you've got 2 and we've got 2, that's it. You get cancelled out.
That's it. That's it. You get a card.
Yeah.
That's it. So I want to ask you, actually, so when you got pregnant, where were you at in your boxing journey? Did you think, that was it? Or were you always intending to go back into boxing? What was that like for you?
No. To be honest, the pregnancy was half planned. I'd actually miscarried before. But I'd already had the because there was nothing in the GB contract at that time that catered for a pregnancy, because the contract was catered for men boxing.
Wow.
So if you weren't fit to fight, then you weren't fit to be on the program. because there was nothing there. You know, I'm pretty sure they've changed it a little bit now. Or
let's hope so.
And I'm sure they have. But you was either fit to fight or you weren't. And if you're not fit to fight, then you're off the programme. So I'd had the conversation with Rob. I was like, you know, I think it's time now. You know, like, you've been there, them squads were hard.
Yeah.
Like, and mentally, I'd left the squad before I'd even actually physically left.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's so regimented, training 3 times a day. You know, you have got the best coaches and the best facilities and the best of everything, but that thing of what I was saying before. You're always like stressing about who's taking your spot, who's coming through, who you've got to beat at the next tournament. You know how your spar went, because that'll impact on who gets sent, and you know the stress of that. I used to literally get in the car at Liverpool on a Monday morning, and then I don't know how, but I'd be there, and it'd be 12 o'clock, and I'd be at the St Sheffield. And like, I think, how did I get, like, when I thought about it, I was like, how did I get here? It's because I was just in autopilot, just going. And it just got that monotonous. But anyway, like I said, I had the conversation with Rob, and he was like, he did like try and like, props to Rob, he was saying like, okay, if you don't want to be here as an athlete, we think you'd be a very good member to have as a coach, and we'll put you through, you know, fast track your own courses. And he did all that. And I said, like I was saying to Rob, if I was going to be here Monday to Thursday, I wouldn't want to be here as a coach. I may as well just be here as an athlete. So it did to me, it didn't make sense to still have them hours and be there as a coach. I may as well just be in there as an athlete. So I have to, like, back and forth and everything. He said, you know, good luck and we'll let you go. And that for me was the biggest decision, because effectively there was no pro scene really. There was, but there wasn't. And I was
there wasn't.
No, I was effectively saying goodbye to boxing then. So, you know, boxing, you know, we were funded as GB athletes, so that was a permanent wage every month, automatically gone. And then you have to fill the void that boxing leaves, because like I said, Monday to Thursday, I lived in Sheffield. I trained 3 times a day. I knew what time I got up and weighed. I knew what time I was on the track. I knew what time I was doing S&C. I knew what time I was going for lunch. I knew what time I was sparring. I knew what time I went to sleep. And then all of a sudden, you've got your own day to yourself. And that was a big, like, shift change. And then also, you're known as, like, your identity is Tasha the boxer.
Yeah.
And then you're not Tasha the boxer anymore. And that's a big thing as well that you have to, like, deal with. So it was a big decision to even leave the amateurs, and to come back into it wasn't anywhere near as big a decision it was to leave. But when I remember Sky got me in to do the commentary for Katie Taylor's, like, debut, and then I'd watched their commentator on it. I'd got good feedback as well from Sky and some of the fans and stuff. And then Tom Stalker, who was our Team GB captain, was like, Tash, like, I think she'll open a load of doors for women in the pros now. Like, I think it'll be a big shift in women's boxing. You should think about, you know, getting back into it. Now, by this time, I'm like, the baby's, I think she's 1. And, like, I am way over me 60 kilo. I'm way over me 63. Yeah, I'm way over me 63, you know, weight. And I was thinking to myself, I'm doing, like, bits of boxing, I'm working with other things, and I'm working self-employed as well. And yeah, I was thinking, oh, shut up, Tom. Like, I was doing my little Tuesday and Thursdays in the Rotunda. Like, it was like it's like a fitness class. I was doing that, thinking, you know, yeah, I'm back.
Yeah.
And I was like, shut up, Tom. There's not a chance. And then he was like, no, you really should think about it. And then a couple of days later, I was like, oh, right, okay. It played on my mind. I was like, actually, what is stopping me? Because I'm self-employed, so I can kind of work around my training. The only thing I really need to sort is the baby. So I remember, again, I'm going to divert from the story, but after the Olympics and I got beat by Katie Taylor, I literally, when I say I cried for a whole day, like, I cried for the day. Like, I phoned my mum at like 5 o'clock the next morning, and I was watching the highlights on the BBC show, the highlights of the everyday of the day before, and I just physically stopped crying, like stopped. And when they saw it and I seen the result again, I like blinked, and you know when you've still got water in your eye, and a tear just fell, started crying again. So I phoned my mum, and the reason I phoned my mum anyway, because they see the behind the scenes thing, like you were saying before, everyone thinks, oh, she's happy all the time. I'm not, but it's, if you ask the people, if you ask the people that are close to me, my mum, my two cousins, and the baby, they'd say a different thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So I phoned my mum. I was like, Mum, like, there's potential here for me to get back into boxing. She was like, well, you know, you'd have to give 100%. Have you still got it in you? Can you do it? And I was like, I've got it. I don't think, because I think as well, because I'd before I left, the reason I left amateur boxing is because I snapped me ligaments in the Commonwealth Games, and it meant that I missed the qualifiers for Rio, and I had no intentions of still boxing in 2020. So I thought, if I can't go to Rio, there was the point in me staying. So that's why I left. She was like, you know, all this stuff, and she was like, yeah, I can still do all that. You know, I think because boxing, I didn't leave boxing on my choice, that I want to go back and have another go. And she was like, well, if that's how you feel, that's fine. The baby's going to be no issue. So I was like, okay, put the phone down and phone my cousin. My cousin was like, you know, like the blood, sweat and tears that you have to put in. If you think you're 100%, we're 100% behind you, the baby's not going to be a problem. Like, don't worry about that. And I was like, put the phone down, phone Tom back. I was like, hey Tom, what you need to start it? And he said, you need a manager, you need this. And I messaged Joe. And I'd obviously known Joe because he trained a lot of the Smiths, and I'd been to a lot of their fights, and I had a good relationship with Joe just as their coach. And yeah, the rest is history. That was like 2017.
So actually, it was more about, were you ready and committed, as opposed to this, you know, the fact that you're a mother. It didn't really, in terms of that, it was just about,
can you put yourself through that again, knowing it's going to be ups, downs, heartbreaks, you know, happy and sadness. Yeah, it was nothing to do with the baby.
Yeah.
And that's the way it should be. But then when it came out that I was going to turn pro, I remember the Times, I think it was, or the Guardian, one of the big papers, they're like big, I got like a double page spread, so it's like, Mum returns to boxing. And I was like, okay, well, Tom Stalker's got like 5 kids, and no one said that Tom returns to boxing. Do you know what I mean? It's just the thing, because I was a mum returning to a sport, and just a mum going back to work, really, aren't I?
Yeah, but you're not, Tash. That's the thing. I know what you're saying, and of course, you know, many males, athletes, they're not, it's like not father, return to sport, but for me, you and Nina still remain my heroes. I swear to God, Nina Hughes is just, the last time I saw you was me and Nina coming to your fight, and you were cool.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago. That was like
2017, 18, that would have been.
Yeah, and Nina Hughes, you still remain my heroes, purely because I know what it's like to box, not a professional level, but I understand the mindset, the dedication, the space that it takes up emotionally, physically. And then I also know what it's like to be a parent, a mother, and to combine.
You two have got more than one, which is a whole different ballgame, because
it literally goes in order 1, 2, and 3.
But I just couldn't. I haven't got the capacity for 2. I just haven't. No, and the 50% chance it could be another female. Wow.
We will talk about that.
And the fact that you've got 3 of them.
It's new territory for me. I grew up in a house full of boys.
Hostile territory.
Hostile, competitive environment. I'll take a jab to the face any day. No, I think, so of course that, you know, that's them sensationalizing it, the press, but it was inspiring, because I was like, damn, when I found out I was pregnant a week before I was due to box, and it was like my last fight, Olympics hadn't happened, and I was like, I'm just going to see how I feel about boxing, if I still want to do it. And I found out on the Tuesday, and I was supposed to box on the Saturday, and it was just a home show. And I remember just being like, what's wrong with me? Like, I don't know what's wrong. I'd done 7 tests, 7 pregnancy tests, just to be sure.
First 6 could have been wrong.
And then I upgraded. I was like, I want the big bucks. I want the one that says not pregnant or pregnant. I want them typed. And And yeah, and the crazy thing is that I actually still contemplated boxing. I was like, maybe if I just like make sure I don't take any shots to the body. And I look at that now and think that was mad, but I was holding on to something that was like a huge part of my identity for so long. So it was a real shift. And also, truth be told, I was told in my relationship at the time, don't worry, you can go back to boxing when you had the baby. Like, I'll be there. And it didn't work out like that. And I feel like I felt inspired by seeing you and Nina do that, because it was something that I felt wasn't available to me. And I do think sometimes if I'd had the space or support to do so, would it be different? I don't know. We can't say I'm here now, but I definitely felt just inspired to, see you. Another one was Valerie and Spicer.
Oh, yeah.
I saw an image of her, and I know she'd had the baby like 3 months or 6 months. And she was on her way to the Europeans, and she was pushing this trolley like out the airport. Like, I think the press had got a picture of her, and the baby was there, and her partner was, and I was like, after 6 months, I knew how I felt when I had a baby. So just to be training, and I've spoken to her about it, and she was like, honestly, it was too much.
Yeah.
But she's still done it. And
Charlie in the team at the minute, Charlie Davis, is it? She's got 3.
I just Mary was her name.
Mary Calm, she had twins.
And
she won the world championships like 6 months later.
And now it's kind of more normal. It's not now. It's not the focus of a boxer, female boxer, and you're like, oh, you happen to be a mum. It is, but that only comes with that. You are credited for that, 100%, definitely. You're showing other people what's possible.
Now, my kid does not want anything to do with me for the whole day. As soon as she gets in, doesn't want anything to do with me. As soon as I say, Mila, right, I'm just on a Zoom, so like do like make yourself busy kind of thing. Mummy. She's like that on the cameras, and I'm just like, it's always.
It's always.
I know, it's
always.
That's
That's 3 girls, 1 girl. How do you find that? So what? Yeah, how do you find that? What is it? How are you doing it?
And breathe. Where do I start? Do you want the lie or do you want the truth? Because everyone tells you all that, it's good to all the joy and you do get all that hairy, flary, fluffy stuff. That is part of parenthood, and it's amazing. The first tooth, the first walk, but
and then
then they walk and talk and answer back.
It's when they answer back.
I've showed you some videos.
Honestly, and so I go from like hood to hippie. Like I'm like,
do not test my gangster.
Yeah.
Do you know in the 90s?
Who you're talking to? and then it goes from just like, okay, it really upsets my feelings. Like,
I start the morning with, hey baby.
Yes.
Morning. Wake up. It's time to get up for school. I'm tired. Babe, come on. What do you want for breakfast? Tell me what you want for breakfast. I'll go upstairs and make it shut you down. Turn the light off. Mila.
This is textbook. I feel so seen right now.
Get up. What do you want for breakfast? The neighbour actually asked me when I came out of.
Is she okay?
No, she actually asked me when I walked out with this. Bearing in mind at the time she's about 2. She says, walked out. She's like, "Oh, where's your other one?" I was like, "Another one? I've only got one." She was like, "Please don't tell me that's who I hear you arguing with." I was like, because like
a whole different person. It's like
but she like tells me off in what I'd tell her off with, or she questions me about stuff. She's like, she said, "Well, if you let me have chewies to school, I will brush my teeth." And I was like, "You're not bribing me. Don't brush your teeth." And she was like, "What does bribing mean?" I said, "Like trying to pay me to do something by doing something else." And she was like, "Oh, you mean like when you said yesterday,
when it comes back
if you
to
do your room, then I'll get you sweets." I was like, "Not quite."
So smart. They're so smart, honestly. And so I find myself, trying to survive.
I'm a celebrity. Get me out of here.
I'm just like, It's nuts because I feel such responsibility of raising. Everyone, I thought the baby stuff was hard. You know, the sleepless
That's
nights.
the easy bit now.
Now
Well,
it is. But
I
obviously
keep on
there's
asking you every
pre-children.
year. Every year I text you on her birthday, is it going to get any easier this year? You're like, nope. So I'm waiting for that.
Yeah,
Someone
yeah, yeah.
told me that, yesterday, someone told me it's 14 is the age because they obviously go through all them hormones and stuff. Now, I can't remember the age when I started being attitude. I think it was a little bit older than 14, but these kids, this new generation of kids,
Different.
everything's quicker.
I didn't have an age. I was like, I never used to talk to my mum like that.
Oh no, I had one try.
And that was it. You still remember it?
It was imprinted in me for the rest of my life. So yeah, I had one go and then never tried again. I respected a gangster from then on.
That was it.
But yeah, this new crop of young generation are.
It's nuts. And also, even my daughter's telling me this generation is like lost. What do I do with that? There is something special and cool about motherhood and parenthood. I think it's when you're doing it solo as well. There's just there's not enough of you. There's just not enough of you. So then emotionally,
there's gangs. There's a gang up against you.
It's a tribe.
I'm on one-on-one like.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like three against one. And then I'm like that. I really love how they have each other's back. Just not against me. That's it. It's not, and then
you all
also,
have one target, it's you.
Yeah, that's it. I'm like, no, that's not how it works. But in terms of, for you, is your daughter, how does she feel about boxing and stuff? I feel like I've overexposed them where they've grown up in the boxing gym. Literally, when even training people, they've been there. Boxing shows. I'm always, long after my journey out of boxing, I've always been in it. And so I feel like they think it's normal. And so therefore they're just like, oh, yeah. And so, when people are like, oh, do you want a box? And they're like, no.
Why would I want to be here?
Why would I? Yeah. So I feel, I think I've overexposed them. But I do feel like every now and again, I feel kind of, them just being, what I want for them is just to be exposed to seeing people, the discipline, the focus, what it takes, their mum being entrepreneurial, people around them being inspired. I'm holding on to that will come out.
Resonate,
yeah.
I think she's never been interested in anything I do, literally not one bit interested. But she like you're saying about parenthood, there's some moments, isn't there? And I remember when the Terry Harper fight and it cut my eye and my eye was bad.
Yeah.
Like I got home about 2 days later and it was bad. And I had sunglasses on. I didn't really want her to see it. And she's like, Mummy, can I see? And I lifted my glasses up and she kissed it. She's like, and she was kissing it better, obviously. And then she gave me something and said, I know you, after the Katie Taylor fight, I know, she gave me like a little medal that she'd won in school. She said, you didn't win, but you can have this. I was like, so there is them moments.
Yeah.
And then, but she's never really been interested. Loves our Nikita, loves our Nikita. Like calls her all the time, has big woman conversations with Nikita, probably about me and about how I stressed her out. So she loved football and being around that. But I'm like you. I just wanted to be exposed to like people. If you ask her her favourite footballer, she'll say Nikita. You just ask her her favourite boxer, it's me. So, two strong women in two male-dominated sports at the top of their game. And she, the Terry Harper camp, she always knew that mum went to gym. She always knew that mum boxed, but she never actually knew what went on there. And when, obviously, with lockdown and stuff, she actually came to the gym with me. That was the first time. And she saw, and she was involved, and Joe would say, go on, Mila, go, when we was on the track, Mummy, go, and I'd be legging her down the track, and she was counting me reps, snitching on me when I do 9. So that was the first time she was involved, and she enjoyed, and then, from then on, she knew what Mummy did. Like, she understood what Mummy did, the processes in the gym. And then we went recently to Thailand, and in Thailand, they've got like adverts of like cars driving, and tonight in the arena, boxing is such and such. So we went to, she was like, Mummy, can we go to Thai boxing? I was like, yeah, we can go. Now, bearing in mind, she's never been interested in absolutely anything I do. We goes to the Thai boxing, and she's like, the whole night. It was like amazed by it. And then afterwards, she was like, Mum, what's that club you used to go to before you went to Joe's? And I went, do you mean the rotunda? And she went, yeah, that. She went, yeah, okay. A couple of hours later, she was like, how old do you have to be to go to the rotunda? I was like, well, usually you have to be 10 to start like training fighting, but they let you in a bit earlier, and because you're my daughter, they'll let you in anyway. She was like, okay. The next day, she was like, Mum, when we go back, I think I want to go to the rotunda. So I was like, okay. Like, don't get me hopes up with anything that she does. She said she wanted to do tennis, and I love tennis. Is my favourite sport. I was over the moon. Within like 2 months, she'd quit. Then she played footy. Now that was after seeing Keita. She played that until it came to the winter, and someone blasted the ball at her in the winter, obviously cold, and I hurt her leg. She was like, I am not playing this game ever again.
You're mirroring my children again. It's just like short bursts of trying stuff.
So when we got home, she was like, Mum, what days is it? I was like, Monday, Wednesday. She was like, can you phone can you phone the coach? Can you phone the coach? And she's like, she gets all panicky, even though with me she's like a different person, but she's like quite panicky over things and the rules and stuff in school and out. She was like, have you phoned Mikey to tell him I'm coming? Have you phoned Mikey? I was like, babe, yeah, I'll text him, you can go. So since February, she's been going to the rotunda Monday and Wednesday.
No, amazing. I'm not a pushy parent. It's not I'm forcing my kids to box, but it would be crazy. It would be crazy for me not for the girls to know how to hold their hands and box.
There's a confidence as well, isn't there? I always say this to like, schools, because I do a lot of work in schools and in community groups and stuff. And when you can actually fight, you don't need to.
You walk different.
Yeah, you don't need to. There isn't that big bravado of, oh, I'm the hardest in the school. You just know you can, so that you're comfortable with that.
Yeah.
You don't have to show it off.
Yeah.
So like, and there's that. I think that's important. Like, just the confidence of knowing you can if you need to.
But that's really it, especially raising young females. That's how they need to walk in the world. I joke with you about how they're overboxing, but actually, the three of them are going to be ring girls tonight. For this event, the Fight Back tonight, they're going to be reclaiming ring girls, and Lyra, she's going to do a little boxing demo on the pads as well. So I maybe I've done them an injustice. They're just, I think it's just normal. I think what I'm saying is like being around boxing is normal, but it does sink in, and I guess it just takes different ways to get there. Her seeing and experiencing that in Thailand, and then being like arriving at it herself,
instead
working it out, and then us as parents just like creating the path for them to walk on it, you know.
Like, I never wanted to be a boxer either. When I started, I wanted to be a footy. I wanted to be a footy player. So, you know, I think you just got to be exposed to everything. Our sport will find you.
Yeah.
And that's basically it. You know, there's loads of things that sports taught me that I nearly said teached. Taught me that school couldn't. You know, I am disciplined. I can work on my own. I can work as part of a team. I can communicate with people at all levels. I'm hardworking. I'm punctual sometimes. But if you ask their employer what they'd want from their employee, they'd say all them things. So
yeah, I think I agree. You said something earlier about boxing, how it teaches you to this thing of like game face. You know, you step in the ring, you're not communicating how you feel, because if you do, then that's like a vulnerability to your opponent, which I think is huge outside in everyday life as well. How do you use that in terms of when you've been through something challenging and you're able to, like, how do you differentiate between keeping your game face on and being like vulnerable and being like, I'm feeling it today?
I mean, maybe it's just me, but there's only certain people that I'll be vulnerable in front of, and most of them are family.
Yeah,
I'm only close family. I think everyone has their roles in our family, like, and usually, I've kind of come to the conclusion that me and one of my uncles are the fixers. So we fix everything that everybody else does, or if anyone's got a problem, they come to us to fix it. And he's the fixer of my mum's kind of generation, and I've come to the conclusion maybe that I'm the fixer of ours. So it's hard to be the fixer and show your vulnerabilities to people. So there is only, like, I can literally count on a couple of fingers the people I will be vulnerable in front of. But I spend a lot of my time, I wouldn't say scared, but even, you know, I've done Sky a million times and commentated on fights hundreds of times, but it's still, I still get nervous. I still, you know, I go to schools. Probably schools is one of the most relaxed I am, because I feel like I can, if you told me, I've done like commercial stuff before where you're working with corporate stuff, and doing like, you know, corporate days and corporate speeches. And that's more, I get nervous doing that. In schools I'm a bit all right, but I think like, again, with that process of like finding out who I am, like there were so many times that I'd walk into spaces and felt like I didn't belong. And like I'd be like, oh God, you know, inferiority, is that what it's called? Inferiority complex. And I'm like, oh,
or
imposter syndrome, yeah.
yeah.
I'm like, I don't belong here. But now, you know, I can be on Sky and be confident, and I can go. I'm in Parliament all the time, you know, speaking about development of boxing and women in sport and all their parliamentary groups. And I go to schools, I can be in businesses, and I do feel like it's a place I belong in. For so long, I had a voice, and I didn't think that anyone cared what I said and didn't want to hear it. But now I appreciate that I've got a platform and people are willing to at least listen to what I've got to say. So I try and use that to the best of my ability. And I do walk into them rooms and spaces different now.
When you shouted out all the fans in Liverpool, I was like, this is dope, because you're recognizing, you know, the effort, and times are hard for people. Everyone. And just you acknowledging that as an athlete and a person, you know, to say, I understand what it took for you to get here to support me today. I loved it. Yeah, I thought it was amazing.
I got a bit of stick with that, but I again,
did you?
I did a little bit.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know. I just did.
Yeah, but what do you mean stick? Like, what were they saying?
Just like, your speech at the end was cringy, but
nah,
to me,
it wasn't. I felt it was real.
To me, it was. That's where it came from, a place of realness for me.
It felt genuine.
Yeah,
I think you can tell the vibration of something when people say stuff. And for me, it resonated, which is why, I felt it was real. I felt it was real.
So, me and Ben had done a collection with the girls from Taste Sandwich Shop now this started like 10 years ago. They've been doing it, and they started with just Liverpool 8, and for any any family struggling within our area, like, we get presents for the kids. So and I've worked with them for the last few years. It's now Liverpool wide, and like there's literally thousands of kids. And I remember, like, one of the people that came I was talking to, and one of the girls that were working there, and she was telling me about one of the families and that, and like the woman was there talking about it. So I was talking with one of the families and one of the girls there, and he was explaining their situation. And before lockdown, well, as the lockdown happened, obviously boxing's a self-employed sport. You're a self-employed person, and there was no fights because the border had shut down, the country had shut down. And then I remember panicking about, because when you first start out, and a lot of people, I didn't have savings. I didn't I was kind of living boxer check to boxer check, and, having to go through all that thing. And again, it was only through like my uncle, my family, that I survived that lockdown. So then I knew where that woman was coming from, and like it broke my heart that like the worst, like as a kid, like again, like we talk about perspective before, you just see it as everyone else is getting stuff and I don't. Do you know what I mean? And it's only when you're a bit older that you like realise that oh God, we actually didn't have any money, or like even when I was a kid, like my nan will kill me, but we had nothing. But no one else had anything, so it was like everyone had nothing, so we didn't feel left out. But it's only now as an adult looking back, I realised that, because you look at it from a different perspective, and the older you get, like your perspective changes every time. And I think I just remember thinking and that's where that speech came from, because I literally remember being that same mum thinking, how am I going to pay this mortgage? I'm going to lose my flat. I'm going to lose the house where, you know, me and the baby that I'd worked hard for to get.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was one of the fortunate ones, and you know, it takes a lot for not everybody's got the support system that I have, and I have been lucky and fortunate in the path that I've took. So
Yeah, I rated it and I respected you for saying that, and it felt very genuine. You mentioned after GB, after Olympics, you cried for a day, which is understandable. By the way, I watched that fight ringside. I was there. You know? Do you remember that randomly I was walking, there was nobody in the venue. It was empty, and I was working behind the scenes at Olympics, and I was walking down this corridor, and randomly you appeared from nowhere, and I was like, Tash, you're like, oh,
Shannon started like Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, you were just like walking around like super relaxed and chilled. And I think back now, that was huge. You were the first female boxer in history to represent the country at the Olympics. That's huge. Whether you threw a punch or not, like that was huge. And I remember watching that fight, and I was like, you boxed your socks off. You boxed your socks off.
Nice.
So yeah, and under that pressure, that's a lot. But I understand in terms of it being upsetting and not getting the decision you wanted. So how do you feel? Is boxing your tool because now it's a job, but is it a tool when you're upset or you're going through something tough? Do you use it? Is it something that you go to soothe or to clear your head or to just help move through something? Or is it like, what does that look like for you now?
Yeah, no, I think the whole reason I got into boxing was because I couldn't play football anymore. That was the whole reason. And I felt like I needed something positive to go back into. I was a little bit, not a little bit, I was overweight. I'd put on a lot of weight as well because I'd stopped the football. I was coming back. I wanted to get back into something just to, you know, focus my mind. That's what sport's always done for me. I kind of knew I would never kind of do anything academic because I wasn't driven by anything academic. Sport was my drive and motivation to do most things. And when football ended, like I said, put on a lot of weight, and I needed to get back into doing something. And that thing was boxing. So for me, boxing was that other thing. So it was you know, it was a stress relief. It was, I was getting over, you know, coming out of football. And then all of a sudden, it changed from that to actually I could be successful in it. And okay, every time like I set me aim at, you know, boxing for the club, and then I boxed for the club. So then I was like, okay, move the bar a bit further. And then they were like, okay, you can go in the ABAs. I said, okay, I'll go in the ABAs. I've won that. So then, you know, you get your England top. I was thinking, right. No, sorry, then you get your England call up. So I was thinking, okay, I'll set me bar at the England call up, get the England call up. I was like, okay, now I've got the England call up, box for England. What comes next? And there wasn't really nothing next. But then the 2009, the Olympic thing comes. So I was like, okay, let's set me bar for the Olympic team. And then get to the Olympics, get to the team, get qualified and all that. Yeah, and then in the pros, it's basically the same. It was just like every time I reached the goal, I was like, okay, if that's reachable, what isn't? And I set the bar a bit higher, and just keep aiming a bit higher and higher, and eventually there'll be a bar that I can't reach, and I'll be like, okay, that's the height. But I'd rather sit.
Do you believe that? No.
There will be eventually. There'll be something that I can't do.
Never, Tash.
Eventually there will be. But I'm okay with that because then I know I've reached...
Be 40 again.
I've reached it. Do you know what I mean? I think...
Not that you can't do it, but just like you've understood that assignment. You're like, what next in terms of something else? Yeah.
There's the thing. I'll have to go that way.
Yeah.
You know, that's the blockage. I'll have to go around it. I've plateaued, so I'm going to have to do something else to go up.
I don't know. You keep doing it. You keep smashing. You keep raising the bar and you keep smashing it. What's next?
What is next?
Babies?
Boys. No.
That was a deep cackle, like.
No. I don't know, you know. Again, I never set out for any... I don't plan anything. just arrive in destinations and deal with it when it comes. I think so many people, hold on and struggle with the past and or are worried about what's coming, that they don't get to enjoy the now. And that's the one thing about my whole amateur experience that I wish I did. Just want to live in the moment at the time. And I think that's the one thing about the amateurs that I didn't enjoy is that because I was always like focused on the result and I didn't get to enjoy the moment. I was always like I say, worried about selection, worried about who's coming, worried about who's taking my spot, worried about how I'd perform in the next tournament, and it didn't, even in the Olympics. And I remember messaging Fraser and all the people saying, like, make sure like you enjoy that moment, like, because it's easily a memory. Yeah, it's easily a memory. So now that's kind of how I just live. It's like I obviously do things that make me happy, bring me joy, but ultimately I just whatever pops up on that day, it pops up. Like I have to check because if it doesn't go on my phone, Dad, it doesn't happen. But I just live as it comes and take my decisions as it comes.
Amazing words to live by. I just want to say thank you so much for joining me today. It's been amazing to chat with you and catch up. Let's not leave it too long next time. It's been a minute, but you haven't changed. You look exactly the same.
Says you.
Benjamin Button.
says you.
You used to call me Benjamin Button.
I know, because you don't literally. You get younger. You look younger now than.
I don't know. There's a few creases. Laughter lines.
Yeah, that's what it is. A smile lines for all them kids. Sometimes.
All them kids. Thank you so much, Tasha. It's been a joy. Thank you.
Thanks. And can I just say, as a friend and I've worked beside you and a colleague, and watching you grow, develop, and flourish, into a mum, into an athlete, and into the person you are now. I'm very proud of you the way you've gone. And wish you the best of luck.
Oh, Tash, thank you.